reveal what his truth is.
Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite girl, Bo Vintage, and today's video is a story time. This is actually an update on my Deadbeat Dad story, and the reason I'm giving you guys an update is because a lot has happened. And just to give you guys a little background, even more background than you already have. Before I had posted that story time, I said, okay, before I post this story time, I'm gonna give my father one last call. The week that I posted that story, my grandmother had passed away, my mother's mother, and it was a really tough time. And at the time, my sister had owed me a lump sum of money, and I don't play with my coin. So she was supposed to give me the money. She wasn't giving me the money. She sees my father a lot, and so I was telling, like, me and her kept getting in arguments about it. I don't like to argue about money because it just makes everything awkward, and money should not deteriorate a relationship, whether it be with a friend or a family member or a boyfriend, etc. So I was getting really frustrated and annoyed with her because she kept giving me like excuses as to why she can't pay me. I don't have time for excuses. Like, I don't do excuses. If I owe somebody money, I'm gonna give them their fucking money. Don't make it awkward for either of us. Just pay what you owe. Stop making up lies. And so I was just getting frustrated. So it got to the point where, because my grandmother had just passed away, and I had actually just started working at my job, if I was taking time off, I was not going to be eligible for grievance pay, which meant that not only am I going to be spending money to go back home so that I could say goodbye to my grandmother, because she had actually died, and then they revived her, and then she was in a coma. So to go say goodbye to her, I would have been missing out on a lot of money at work. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna need the money now. Like, this is not a game anymore. I would like to come say goodbye to my grandmother. Please pay me. She wasn't budging. She was making up all kinds of excuses, okay, etc., blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I was like, you know what? Let me call my father and ask him to give me the money, and then she can pay him back because they's together all the time. So I did. I called him and I asked him, and his words to me were this, and this is before I uploaded the video. His words to me, well, I said, hey, I just moved out of the city. Grandma just passed. You obviously know that, and I would like to come back home to say goodbye to her before they pull the plug. So my sister owes me money. You see her all the time. Can you please send me the money for her, and then she can pay you back rather than paying me back? Because I just felt like she wouldn't play games with him the way she's playing with me. And this is a reoccurring thing with my sister. So that was my last straw when it came to doing any favors for her. Well, it wasn't even a favor because she was paying me, but she was supposed to be paying me. But that was my last straw because I just do not have the time for the games and petty shit. Like, I ain't with the shits, okay? So I asked him, and his words to me were, what does that have to do with me? I said, it has nothing to do with you. I don't think it has anything to do with you. But at the end of the day, she lives with you. You see her all the time. I would like to come say goodbye to my grandmother, and I'm going to be missing work. So, like, it's just not happening, and I need my money. So granted, not that he doesn't owe me anything, because he definitely does owe me something, but the fact that he had the nerve to say to me, what does that have to do with me? Like, this is not, like, I'm not trying to come back to the city to fucking party. I'm trying to come back to say goodbye to my grandmother, and, you know, this was the last time I'd be seeing her. And my eyes are watering. We ain't crying today, bitch, because you know what? My makeup is on hella fleek. So as serious as this story time is, I ain't crying. So I was pissed, obviously, that he said that to me. And I was just like, look, I didn't call you to argue with you. I just want to see my grandmother before they kill her before they pull the plug and she's gone forever. And yeah, he refused. So it was that day that I said, okay, so I had already recorded the video, I just hadn't uploaded it yet. So that was me saying, okay, maybe if he sends me the money, then I will not upload this video just yet. I'll wait till he fucks up again, because I've given my father 100,000 chances, okay? So he said no. I never ended up going back home to say goodbye to my grandmother. And obviously when somebody, but within that week they pulled the plug, she ended up passing. And so I waited until the week of the funeral. Literally the day before the funeral is when Shooter and I went back home. And as I was in the car on the way back home, and my phone was ringing, and it was, guess who? My father. Why are you calling me? What are you calling me for? So I ignored the call and I texted him and I said, I'm at work. And that's all I said. He didn't reply, nothing. Okay? So I'm in the city now. I go to my grandmother's funeral and there's a whole bunch of people there. Like, there was a lot of people there. My father was one of them. Like I said, this is my mother's mother. This was not his mother. He had no right to be at the funeral. One, because my parents are divorced. Two, because my grandma ain't even fucking with him like that. And I remember shortly before my grandmother had passed away, I was living in Ajax and I was having a conversation with her about my father, and she was telling me this, that, and the third, things that I'm not going to share on here because I've already tarnished his image enough for the church people, and the church people are in cahoots about it, and that is why I'm telling you guys the updated version of the story, because the church people got me all the way effed up and they got my mother all the way effed up, and it ain't going down like that. So whoop, whoop, whoop. So whoop, whoop. So I was falling over just now. I only have one, I'm on one leg. I need to come on here and clarify a few things. I ain't gonna drag nobody today. I'm not gonna come on here and drag my father too rough, but I will address the situation. And the cat's out the bag now. Like, my father's name is Howard Brown. The cat is out the bag. So everybody that has watched that video knows who the hell my father is, okay? Or all the people that watched it that are in cahoots, they know who my daddy is, okay? So they can come and watch this too. Y'all better get your popcorn and sit tight, okay? And listen to everything I have to say. Everything. Ugh. Yeah, I'm at the funeral, and matter of fact, this is very similar to the look I wore to the funeral, because I was in mourning and I wanted to wear black. Well, everybody was wearing black pretty much, but I had on black lipstick. I had on a look very similar to this one. At the funeral, my father I was in the first 2 rows of the church, and my father was like in one of the mid rows. This man was staring me down the entire time, and I was avoiding eye contact purposely because you denied me seeing my grandmother before she passed. Like, he had no right to be there. He had no right to be looking at me. Like, no, he was trying to get my attention the whole entire time, and I was avoiding him the whole entire time. I felt him looking at me, and I just kept my head straight and minded my business because no. So I avoided him as much as humanly possible. You guys don't understand. You guys really don't understand. Like, the way I was avoiding him was ridiculous. It was literally like I don't even know how to explain the level of avoidance, but it was extreme. It was at an all-time high. And every time I was in passing with him, I make sure to keep straight. Like, there were times he would be walking towards me and I would beeline and walk away because I don't want to talk to you. There's no reason to talk to you. It got to the reception. I got to the reception so that's basically after the funeral, where we all go to this banquet hall. Again, my father decides to show up there. That was for immediate family only. My father is not immediate family. Like I said, my parents are well divorced. So he went to the reception, and of course he's still trying to get my attention, and I'm still trying to avoid him. It got to the point where he had to literally back me into a corner to say hello to me. I was like, why are you begging? Like, you know when somebody's avoiding you. I think he was like, it was fulfilling him, and he was finding enjoyment in the cat and mouse game that we were playing. Like, it wasn't even a game I was playing. Like, I really don't fuck with you. Like, I didn't want him to say anything to me. It got to the point where I was in a group with my sisters, so that included 3 out of 4 of my sisters. I was talking with them in a group, and my cousins, and my father came into the group, and he was like, hello, Sabrina. Like, nigga, bye. Like, bye. See you never. I was like, hi. Like, hi. And then shortly after that, I had walked away. Shooter actually told me that he had come up to him and was talking to him before. Like, why are you talking to my boyfriend? My boyfriend doesn't fuck with you either, my nigga. Like, don't talk to us. You are a nobody. If I had seen that, oh, I would have been all up in that ass, but I did not, okay? And so I told my mom I was not gonna swear in this. Sorry, Mom. Anyway, yeah, so that's basically what happened at the funeral. And then he begged to say goodbye to me when he was leaving. And my sister did as well. I wasn't really fucking with my sister at the time either, but she is, y'all know, I already told y'all she fake as hell. So in front of everybody, she's like, my little sister. And when she was hugging me, my arms were straight down because I was not fucking with her. And I'm not the type of person that's gonna pretend in front of everybody. Like, no, I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care if we are at somebody's funeral. I don't care if we're at somebody's wedding. If I don't fuck with you, and you know that, and you're gonna try and come and like friend me up, like, it's not happening. So she was hugging me, being extra in front of everybody. It was really friggin' annoying, but whatever. So my father tried to say bye to me, and I just gave him one of these. I didn't even say bye back. I was just like, cause anyway, that's what happened with, that was my last physical encounter with my father. And that was after the video had been uploaded. The funeral was after the video had been uploaded. However, he had not seen it, she had not seen it, my sister had not seen it, nobody had seen it yet. The video hadn't gotten as big as it got yet. So a couple weeks ago, literally, like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, maybe last month, I don't even know, I received a phone call basically saying that shit's about to hit the fan, because this person and that person have seen this video. People from his church have seen the video. And so even though I never said his name in the first video, I guess church is a very small community. Like the Sabbath church is a very small community. Everybody knows everybody. And no, I'm not Seventh-day Adventist. I never was Seventh-day Adventist. We do church on Saturday, but we are not Adventist. Adventist is a little bit different. So basically, church on Saturday, it was just church. The church that I used to go to, even though it was on Saturday, it was just like going to church on Sunday. It was like, I don't know, what is that, Pentecostal? I really don't know. I don't know why there's so much segregation in church, but it is what it is. If you going to worship, you going to worship. I don't understand why there has to be this day and that day. Like, keep the Sabbath holy and call it a day. Neither here nor there. So yeah, I guess there was even a comment on the video where somebody had said, OMG, I think I know who your father is. And I said, LOL, what's his name? But the person never replied. So I don't know if that person like shows somebody else. And it was just a chain reaction. Either way, it was a domino effect. Let me tell you something. Anything that happens in the dark will come to light. So my father acting holier than thou is some fugazi ass shit, okay? I am just not gonna take a stand. Like, I'm not gonna sit on the sidelines and let him do those things. I'm not gonna enable him to do those things. And that's why, that's a part of the reason I made that video. But the other reason that I made that video, and I thought I made this very clear, was so that anybody going through something similar, and I don't mean your dad's a pastor and he's a deadbeat, I just mean having a deadbeat parent in general. Anybody going through that could find healing. And me voicing my opinion, not even opinion, me telling my story and bringing light to the situation, and if it ruffled feathers, it ruffled feathers, but that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, my goal, my intent was to help somebody else going through that. that is why I referred to the video at the end from the pink butterfly, and I told you guys to go ahead, click that link and watch it. I will put it in the link of this description box as well, because when I watched that video I said amen, bless the Lord, thank you Jesus, hello, hi. Like, I was feeling a lot better about my situation, and that video is the reason I ended up sharing my story, because I don't want people, especially because I know a lot of young girls and some guys watch me, I don't want you guys to, or I didn't want them to grow up and have that hate for their father. Yes, I do not want to speak to my father. I have no intention of having a relationship with my father, but that is because sometimes it's better to love from a distance. No, I can't say that I love him, I really can't, but how do you love somebody that hurts you so much? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I ain't gonna put myself in that kind of situation. Like, there's no need. And so I said it in the video that little girls and little boys, we need our fathers. And so for the fact that my father was not there, he never tried to be there, and he still ain't trying to be there, like, what does anybody expect from somebody like me? There's somebody that is in my situation, you know what I mean? Like, what can you expect from me? When your dad is not there, you don't know what kind of man to love. Like, you pick the wrong ones. I've been with 100 bad niggas. Like, I'm attracted to the wrong kind of man, you know what I mean? Like, naturally I'm attracted to the wrong kind of man, and so that is because that is my father. That is the image of a man, even though it's subconscious, and well, I know it now, but like, even though it's subconscious, it's instilled in me to go and be attracted to the wrong people. So if I think about all my ex-boyfriends, they were ain't shit niggas, like, all of them. And that is because I didn't have a male role model in my life that I could look up to and be like, oh my god, this is what I want my husband to be like. No, because I want my husband to be the total opposite of what my father was. So yeah, but beyond that, I heard through the grapevine that the shit was about to hit the fan, because apparently my father had seen the video, or whoever had seen the video, people from his church, and I guess they started posing questions. I even heard that actually, it's hard for me to do this without name dropping and stuff. Well, not name dropping, but like telling too much. I even heard that people from my old church had seen the video, and they approached one of my family members and were saying things like, well, they're gonna pray. Well, that's fine, pray all y'all need to, but they're gonna pray, and why did I do that, and blah blah blah. And my whole thing is, how is it that these church people, and y'all some hypocrites, because how is it that your questions are, why would I get on there and say something about that? Why wouldn't I keep that like quiet? Why? So you guys don't look at him in a negative light? So you guys don't know the truth? The truth is the truth. Like, I'm not gonna sit back here and hide it and brush it under the rug, because no, I shouldn't have to do that. I should never have to have even been able to have the story to tell. How about that? How about that? I should never have been able to come on here and on this ginormous platform called the internet and speak ill about my father. Because why? Because my father should not have been ill to be spoken about. How about that? I ain't like them apples. Okay, so the church is asking the wrong questions, and quite frankly, it's offensive. And I think a lot of people are looking at my mother and accusing her of this, but no, honey, because I'm 24 years old. I've seen my father, I've watched my father for years do this. Like, I've learned myself. And y'all can think that my sister, even because she's present and stuff, that means that he didn't do anything, because I'm pretty sure I heard something about that he went up at his church and said, obviously what I was saying was not all facts, because my sister's sitting in the audience. She wouldn't be there if that was the case, if he was such a bad guy. Don't ever in your life. That is not why she's sitting there. That is definitely not why she's sitting there. So we're not gonna pretend like my father is freaking holier than thou, because he's not. And I'm not gonna pretend that he is. And my mother did not put me up to this. And my sister can go to church all she wants to, but she knows exactly what it is. She can sit there and pretend all she wants because she doesn't want the smoke. She doesn't like the confrontation. She doesn't like the problems. But my sister was in that same situation where her husband was not shit. He was an ain't shit nigga, and the reason is because she grew up looking up to my father, who was an ain't shit nigga. And where does that end you up? Nowhere but divorced. So it's just like, why? And no, honestly, it's not even a shade thing. Like, I don't care. My sister can call me and curse me out all she wants. At the end of the day, she knows what it is, and for her to even like enable my father to carry on that way is fucking ridiculous. Cause y'all don't want me to pull up at the church. Y'all don't want me to pull up at the church, honey. Cause I will. Do not test me. Because that's how I'm feeling right now. I was like, what kind of ignorant man would go on stage knowing the truth? My father knows the truth. And he's going to stand up there on the pulpit, as I said he would, preaching the total opposite. Like, no, you cannot be a man of God and neglect your family. And what I mean by that is, the Bible says, honey, and I am one to quote no scriptures, okay? I am not one to quote no scriptures, but the Bible does say that a man that does not take care of his family is worse than an infidel. If you don't know what an infidel is, you can Google that, but you should know what an infidel is because y'all are some Christians, right? Y'all are some holier than thou Christians. Like, stop pointing the finger and feeling or being offended that I got up here and spilled my family situation on the internet. That is not what this is about. At the end of the day, as much as I forgive my father, it comes down to principle, and that is all that is. The money is the principle. He can go up on there and say it's not as much as she's saying it is, and let him continue to do that. He'd rather hire a lawyer and pay the lawyer thousands of dollars than pay what he owes. Does that make any sense? Take care of what you're supposed to take care of, because at this point it's not about anything other than the principle and you doing your due diligence as you laid down, had 2 kids, and then didn't take care of them. Who does that? But then have the nerve to go and lay down with some next broad and have 2 more kids. But you didn't take care of your first 2, and you want to fight it. And what kind of woman would sit with a man like that and have the nerve to be disrespectful towards his children? I don't care what my father will try to convince you after watching this, or what he's already tried to convince you before watching this. Understand one thing: my father is and always will be a deadbeat dad. He is a pastor. You listen to him when he's on that pulpit preaching and carrying on and sweating. But if there's one thing that he is not, out of all the things that he is, including a sociopath, that would be that he is not a good dad, and he never has been, and he never will be. Maybe he is to his kids. Maybe he is to the 2 boys that he got, but he ain't a good daddy to me. He never has been, he never will be. And in the story, in the original story, when I shared it, I did not say his name for the reason that I figured, okay, if anybody sees this that goes to his church, they won't even recognize me. They won't know who I am because I've never been around. And there's a reason for that, because I don't do the fugazi things. Like, I don't do fake stuff. So I'm not going to show up in church and sit there and be like, yes, Pastor Daddy, yes, Pastor Pops, yes, preach Daddy, preach, when everything that he stands for and lives for is a lie. I'm not gonna fall into that hype, and I cannot speak for my sister. I cannot speak for why she goes to his church sometimes, or why she has this soft spot for him that will never die, because she's always had a soft spot for him. I don't have a soft spot for either of my parents, simply because they're both Sagittariuses. They have the same birthday, honey, and I'm a Taurus. I don't really mess with the Sages. So me and my mom have a different kind of relationship, and me and my mom don't have the greatest relationship. Like, me and my mother, we function, but my mom has done so much for me that I would never ever take her for granted, like, ever. So even if we bicker and quarrel and have fights here and there, like, at the end of the day, it's all love. Whereas with my father, all the dirt that he's done to me, he's never apologized for. He's never ever said, you know what, I'm so sorry for not being there for you, not taking care of you, not doing this and that and the third. And I don't mean monetary things, like, that's the least you could do. But I'm at a point now where I wouldn't need his coin. Like, my sister, I remember one time my sister said, oh, he wants to see you, and I was like, okay. And she was just like, well, what if he has money for you? I said, do I look like I need his money? I don't need anybody's money. I got my coin, honey. Like, I ain't the one. That was when I was in high school that I would call him and ask him for things, because I needed those things in high school. But I'm grown now. Like, I live on my own. I don't live with my mom. Like, no, I don't need any help from anybody, because I'm good. So there's nothing he can offer me, because he cannot offer me a relationship, especially not this many years down the line, after being so neglectful and just disrespectful, not only towards me but towards my mom. And all the times I've tried to have a conversation with him and figure out, okay, especially when it came down to school and stuff, like, I don't know if you guys read the description box of the other video, but my father cashed in my trust fund. What? He cashed that in before I was even 18, and I was not able to use that money to pay for school. That is why I did not go to school, because I could not afford it. And I'm not the type of person that's gonna take student loans and struggle for the rest of my life to pay them back. I've seen too many people struggle with that. Too many people have debt over their freaking heads, and I'm just not the type of person to do that. So yes, a part of it was my choice to not go to school, because I didn't want to do student loans. But why should I have had to do student loans when I had a trust fund? He cashed it in slightly before his wedding. So who's like, where'd the money go? Where's my trust fund? How is that, like, what? And you guys want to, and the church wants to look down on myself and accuse my mother of me thinking the way I think? No, this is the reality of the situation. My father is scum of the earth, and it's sad, and maybe he needs therapy, maybe he can't help it. Hell, I need therapy, because listen to me. But my father is just a different type of man, okay? I don't even know how to describe him. So Dad, if you're watching this, no shade, no tea to you, okay? No shade, no tea to you, Pops, okay? But let's be real here, Dad, okay? So yeah, I'm actually gonna just address my dad right now. Let's be real here, Pops, okay? You know, as well as I know, as well as everybody in my family knows, that you've never ever been a good dad. You've never been a good father, and we're not going to pretend that you have been. So please, if you're not going to get up on your pulpit and spit facts, then don't say anything at all regarding the situation, because at the end of the day, it's none of the church's business. Yes, I did put it on the internet, but you don't owe an explanation to anybody except for me and the lady that you owe the money to. But we all know what you're doing about that, don't we? So I don't know if there's anything else I need to address. Trust me, there will probably be a part 3 after I upload this video, but I just want it to be understood where I was coming from. That video was not posted to bash my father. If you watch the whole entire, 48 minutes, then you know that I stated I only want to post this because I feel like it might help somebody else. And if you read the comments under that video, you know that I've touched and helped a lot of people by sharing that story. There are thousands, millions of people dealing with the situations like mine. Millions of people that have parents that ain't shit. Parents that have just never been there. Parents that have abandoned them, okay? Millions of people like me. So for the fact that I could simply just use this platform and talk to them and touch them and let them know that they'll be okay, and that was my main focus, let you know that it's not the end of the world if your daddy ain't shit and he ain't in your life and he ain't present. You'll be fine. You don't need, he might have been here. This is why I refer to him as a sperm donor, because if it weren't for him laying down with my mother, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Dad. Thank you for ejaculating. I can't. Thank you. I honestly go. I'm very blessed to be here, and I feel blessed. But I wasn't blessed with a dad. So yes, you were a sperm donor. Yes, he was a sperm donor. But that's all he was, and that's all he will ever be to me. I can't speak for his other children. They might watch this when they're older and be confused because they've never met me, and they probably never will. And I'm okay with that, because that's a part of him, and any part of him that we can cut off, then we could cut it off, but we need to cut it, okay? They might experience a totally different side of him that I never got to experience. So like I said, I can't speak for the rest of them. I definitely cannot speak for my sister, even though her and I have had thousands of conversations about this man and about his behavior. So it doesn't bother me that she will sit there and allow him to act the way he acts, or that she has a relationship with him, because that's her choice. Like, I'm not gonna be like, how dare you talk to him because blah 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 and this, that, and the third. I don't give a damn who she talked to. Like, what? That is not my business. That is not my business. But I can't have a relationship with somebody that has hurt me. That's like dating an ex-boyfriend that cheats on you. Like, you don't do that, because why? You're gonna put yourself in the same situation over and over again. And that is what I have experienced with dealing with my father. I've experienced that hurt over and over and over and over again, and there's been nights where I just cried and cried and cried because I didn't understand it until I watched that video from Pink Butterfly, and until I was able to have enough strength to even talk about the situation, because a lot of people don't talk about stuff like this because it sucks, it hurts, it's not something fun to talk about. Like, what? I would kill for a dad. Like, the fuck? Somebody adopt me. But yeah, like, I'm grown now. We can move past this. Just cut the check. That's it. Like, don't fight it anymore. It's tired. It's tired. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't want to talk too much more about this. I just wanted to stress a couple of things, and I think I got all those things out. And the main thing is that this had nothing to do with my mother, just mainly about me. My mother did not put me up to this. She would never ever do that. Let me tell you something about my mom, okay? Let me tell you something, because this was, like I said, I posted that video the week my grandmother had passed away. My mother had not, I didn't tell my mom, I didn't tell anybody I was posting this video. I posted it, I think maybe 3 days later, my mom had called me and she was furious. This lady was off her rocker, and she's like, are you serious? Like, she didn't even say hello. She's like, I said hello. She's like, are you serious, Sabrina? Are you serious? And I'm like, about, like, I was so mad when she called me. I was livid. And then I obviously knew what she was talking about, because I just knew. But she was freaking out on the phone, and I was like, in my heart, I was like, okay, she must only be mad because the timing is bad. I shouldn't have posted that video the week my grandmother passed away, because it was a deep video and it was just too much for my mom to handle all at once. So she was pissed at first, but by the time the funeral came, she threw that out the window, because I almost did not go to the funeral because of how my mom was talking to me on the phone that day. When she called me and she was cursing me out, I was just like, F this, I'm not going. I don't have time for this drama, blah blah blah, even though it was kind of my fault. But yeah, I was refusing to go to the funeral, and then me and my mom squashed it, because I was like, Mom, did you watch the video to the end? She didn't watch the video to the end. I don't even think she watched the video. She only heard bits and pieces from hearsay of what I was saying in the video, and that is why she called me flipping shit, because she didn't know what the entire video was, and so she was mad at me when I posted the video. And so I was like, honestly, I can't apologize for posting that video. I'm unapologetic. I refuse to say sorry for that, because I didn't get an apology. I didn't get an apology from niggas that ain't shit, so why should I apologize for bringing light to the situation? And it did obviously touch a few people and get people talking, because my father wouldn't have been going on the pulpit to explain or redeem himself or to make himself look better. That is definitely sociopath behavior, because denying makes you appear guilty, okay? So it's best to just plead the fifth or just not say anything at all, honey. Anyway, I don't know if I can call this a story time or if it's a rant, but it's partially a story time because of what happened at the funeral. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. Doesn't matter. I do love you all, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one.